Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you. So today we're going to investigate the only thing that is open for investigation, which is all there is. And so we're going to investigate here now. Okay, we're just going to investigate here now and see what we find. So there is a strong sense of history. There's a strong sense of past, and there's a strong sense of future. Yeah. It feels like, woo, I've been a devil in the past and I hope I'm an angel in the future. Whatever. I've had bad luck. I hope I have good luck. Past, future, past, future. Now let's see. There's a strong sense of those, but can we actually investigate those? Can we investigate the past? When would we investigate the past if we were to decide to investigate the past? Well, we'd have to investigate it right now, wouldn't we? Because there's nothing other than right now. Now, there is a sense of past and there's a sense of future. I guess the past is to my left. So at any rate, there's a sense of past and a sense of future. But let's see if there's a sense of now. Is there a sense of now? Okay, I give up. There is no sense of now. There's only now. So the sense of now would mean that there's the now, and then there's something that has the sense of it. There's something that is going to believe in it, but there's not anything to believe in it. There's not anything to have a sense of it. There's just now. And now is when. It's not even a when. The now is not really what we would call now, because that type of now exists as the meeting point between past and future, and there's no past, no future. So we can't mean that now. So I mean the now. And when I say the now, what do I mean? This without reference. This without reference. This without imagination. So who are you in the absence of memory? If I suddenly stole away all the memories from over there, you have no reference point. That's a false reference points anyway, but that's getting ahead of things. Who are you in the absence of memory? I have no clue whatsoever. When am I in the absence of memory? Well, there's no when, because there's no past, there's no future. So I have to be now. I don't have to be a sense of now, because there's nothing to have a sense of now. There's only now. There is only this now. And there's no one who's learning this, certainly no one who's teaching this. No one here, lights are on, nobody home whatsoever. It may look like it, it may sound like it, but that's because our senses are distorting things. Our senses are way distorting things. Well, what do you mean, Fred? I can see this. Yeah, and that's distortion. This is illusion, every bit of it. You can see it. But Fred, I can hear everything. No, that's having so-called ears that are the gateways of distortion. You don't have actually ears. You don't have a head. You really don't have a head. I know that you think you do, but you really don't have a head. But that's okay because you don't have any shoulders to rest a head on if you had one. This is all illusion too. This. So you've been thinking this is the solid thing right in the middle, and that this solid thing is experiencing some kind of illusion that's going on out there. But you're here. There's no out there. There's only here. And when I say this here, I don't mean this here. There's only this here, because this here is illusion. It looks and feels it's as real as anything else. But the whole damn thing is illusion, including what's talking right now. This is illusion. And I am participating in some sort of illusion experience over here and over there. Over here, I think I'm a Fred. Over there, I think I'm a Bob or a Carol. I can't find I. There's a sense of I. But I cannot find I that has that sense. What can I discover ever only here? If I go to South America, I'll be here. Wherever I am, that's here. And I am everywhere. There's only this here. But don't believe what the eyes are telling you, that there's this and that. There is neither this nor that. From within this illusion, within relativity, because relativity is an illusion. It's the thing you've got to understand. There are not illusions within relativity. Relativity is the illusion. And everything within relativity is what? It's illusion. When you hear my voice, that's illusion. If I go look for the my, I find out that's illusion. These are the words that come out of the mouth, but they're not my words. I'm not thinking them up. I'm not, cooking anything up over here. I didn't even know how this video would go. I had no idea whatsoever. I knew what other than I knew I wanted to investigate the here now with you. See, I couldn't have any idea of what I'm going to do in the future because there's no I'm, there's no actual prior, within what we call time. What's prior to consciousness is all that is, and consciousness comes and goes. It does. You go to sleep, there's no consciousness. There's consciousness of some sort, perhaps, but you can't prove it. You can't prove anything about deep dreamless sleep. You can't even prove that you're alive during deep dreamless sleep, which is understandable because you can't even prove you're alive when you're not in deep dreamless sleep. Prove to me right now that you're alive. How will you do that? Prove to me now that you're not alive. How would you do that? Alive, not alive. Alive, dead. Opposites. We're talking relativity. Within relativity, there's life and death, but within truth, there's no life, there's no death. Well, there's only life, if you want to put it that way. But it's really, there's no life, there's no death. There's this experience, of life. And I'm not trying to deny the wonderful nature of relativity. I am a worshiper of Maya. This is great, okay? But I don't need it, neither do you, because it doesn't exist anyway. So we can't possibly need it. And I say we just because those are the words that come out. I'm at a loss for words. I'm always at a loss for words. I never have any idea what's going to come out of this mouth. I really don't. I mean, the second you hear something out of this mouth is the second that I hear something out of this mouth. And there's nothing that passes through the mind prior to that, because there's no such thing as prior for one reason. Yeah, there's a sense of prior. We talk about prior to consciousness, prior to that the dawn is prior to day and the dusk is prior to night and all of this. And that's a very useful term within this virtual reality. This is virtual reality. Even this virtual helmet is virtual. I sometimes talk about the fact that this is like a virtual helmet, and that's a teaching mechanism. And I give up truth for the ability to teach sometimes, because my idea is not to be as, you know, provide you with the perfect teaching. My job is to provide you with the teaching you can understand. This body's just rocking and rolling, isn't it? There's a new kind of energy in it right now. What do I do? Said who? That new kind of energy is always here when I'm talking to myself. And I'm talking to myself whenever I'm talking. But I don't really talk to anybody except for Betsy, and clearly that's talking to me. And I talk to clients. That's pretty much it. I mean, I do have a physical therapist I see once a week, and I have a strength trainer that I see once a week. And I do talk to them because that's the experience. I'm not denying the experience. I like to go to these places. I like the people I work with at the gyms. I say plural because they're not the same gym. But the gyms are an illusion. I'm trying to get the body healthy, but the body's an illusion. So you can see that trying to get the body in top condition for its age is there's no body. Nonetheless, there's something coming from nothing, and it's not something like a something. There is experience. There's experience of body. There's experience of Betsy. There's experience of dogs. There's experience of you, my friends and clients and students. You are a friend, client, student, dependent upon what you use or the word you use. I don't really know the difference. I know a client by difference because the clients send me money. Students may, but don't feel obliged to. And friends, they might if I was in trouble, but they're not going to do it if I'm not. And you hear that? I'm, who's talking? Now what I'm talking about is the experience of relativity. There's an experience of relativity. And the experience of relativity gives you, populate relativity. The whole concept of relativity is built on opposites. It's built on this and that, but there's no this and that to you. There's no here and there to you. There's here now. We can't experience anything other than here, and we can't experience anything other than now. In the absence of memory, what are you? Where are you? I don't know. I don't know. In the absence of projection, where's the future? When do we think about the future? We think about it right now, don't we? We can't think about it any other time because there isn't any other time. So those of you who are going to wake up later, give it up. Wake up now. Wake up here now. And when I say wake up here now, I'm talking to here now. Wake up here now. Wake up. Wake up to this glorious dream. It's packed full of marvelous detail. But none of this can exist in the absence of opposites. So within relativity, a happy day will at some point be followed by what? By a sad day. A victory within relativity will be experienced by a defeat, a failure within relativity. That's what we can't know them. You got to know both. You can't know one or the other. In the absence of an other, what is there? There's nothing, because there's no me without an other. There really isn't. There's no me without an other. So relativity, it's not where I appear, it's my appearance. You can say the same thing because we are the same thing. Relativity is your experience. But an experience of something's very much like the sense of something. It can mean something true, but it doesn't have to. It's not compelled to. I had a sense it was going to rain this morning. It didn't. There's one good sense of something shot to hell. It wasn't the truth of something. If it had been the truth of something, it would have rained. And then I would have said I knew it was going to rain all the time, but I just had a 50-50 chance, that it was going to rain or it didn't. And I just took a gamble, because I forget about all the times that I'm wrong about what is going to happen or what did happen. Eyewitnesses still count a lot in a court of law, but you typically got to have more than one now, because we found out that they're so faulty. Why are they faulty? Because we're making them up. What's making up memory? Here, now. When? Now. Where? Here. There can't be a future without a past, and there's no past. There can't be a past without a present. There's no present in the traditional sense. Now, here's where presence comes into play. There's presence, but don't think that the presence is out there somewhere. This is the presence. You are the presence. You are experiencing the presence of you. And if you go out and sit in the garden and meditate and you experience God out there, God just experienced God in an imaginary garden. Doesn't mean that I'm not saying don't meditate, don't pray. I'm not saying that at all. We're trying to see the truth, but we're not trying to negate our experience. That's what there's way too much about there, that there's this and not that, that there's only the absolute and the relative doesn't matter. Or there's most of the rest of the world is saying that there's only the relative and the absolute doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that both count and neither matters. Because relative is dream and so is absolute. Absolute, the absolute, is a code word that we use when we get to this particular topic that this is theoretically on. And we realize we can't say anything true. And so we say, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm practicing spirituality. And notice that when I said spirituality, or I'm trying to get to God, or I am in God, or I'm getting to God, and I say I am God, there's an am there. There's an I in front of the am, and that's one word too many. And am is also one word too many. There is amming initially for one of these. But where was the amming prior to this? Where was the amming prior to you? Where, in other words, where was experiencing? Where was impersonal experiencing prior to that unit? Well, you can't remember a damn thing about it, because there was no consciousness there to project it, to manufacture it. There was no consciousness there to suffer from this. When we suffer from this, we are suffering from imagination. That takes nothing away from physical suffering. There's from physical pain, which we would normally say physical suffering. So physical suffering, but that's impersonal. There's just pain. We don't want to take anything away from pain. There is an experience of pain. We don't want to take anything away emotionally, because there's an experience of pain and anguish and worry and regret and everything else. But there's nothing to back all that up. There's here now, and I defy you right now prove to me that there's anything other than here now. And if you say, well, let me get ready, you've already lost. Twice. You lost on me and you lost on gonna get ready for later. This is about as stripped away as you can get, while still not negating the experience of the absolute, the divine, or the relative, the mundane. But the relative and the mundane, the relative and the absolute, there's no separation between those two. The relative is the absolute, and the absolute is the relative. It doesn't mean that because the absolute is beyond our imagination. So we can't cook up what it looks like. We can't cook up how this occurs. We can't cook up any of that. And when we say the absolute, we have no evidence whatsoever that there's an entity. None. You can say, well, who did this? Well, I can say, well, who's asking? If we're going to play that game, who's asking? Oneness is asking oneness. Who started oneness? There is no start. Eternity is not a long, long time. It is the absence of time. There is no beginning and no end. Beginning would be a past, and end would be a future, and there's only nowness. There's only nowness. And this nowness is more like a verb than it is a thing. Because there is a strong sense of aliveness. I mean, as I sit here now, as I've discussed this with you, it's just like the body is experiencing quite a different room than it did 20 or 30 minutes ago, however long I've been doing this. It's quite a different energy, much different energy, even when I mentioned it earlier. There's bursting here. This is a sun and it's radiating. And no, I'm not crazy. I'm noticing what's true. Not that this is a sun, but you can't say that it's not, because this ain't here. It's the sun, it's the moon, it's everything else, because it's all make-believe. The sun is make-believe, the moon is make-believe. The universe is make-believe. It's illusion. I'm saying make-believe, it just makes it diminishes it. It's an insult to Maya. Maya being the grand illusion. But there's no one having that grand illusion. There's only the ground illusion. Here now. I wonder how many of you will sit with me for 2 or 3 minutes before you cut off this video. Let's see. if you've sat through the credits here, here's your little endpoint bonus. You get to hear me say to myself, I love you. I love you. God Almighty, I do love you.